Alright, ladies and gents, welcome back to the second shift of the final round of FPT Edu NihongoEng 2023. This afternoon, we will be watching a performance from contestants from Board A, the university class, as well as Board B, the high school and college. Contestants, are you guys ready? If you're ready, do you make some noise? Audience, are you guys ready? Let's get some energy. Audience, yes, okay. That is the first round of the final round of FPT Edu NihongoEng 2023 in Malaysia. Please welcome the first team on stage for the presentation from FPT University, Ho Chi Minh City. They are Team Night Owl. Team Night Owl with their presentation topic Vietnamese, the rich and expressive language.
So good afternoon, judges and audience out here. As we know, language is the backbone of every nation's cultural creation and reservation. Vietnamese, no doubt, is no exception to this rule. You go out there, ask any Vietnamese person, and they'll tell you that their language is already filled to the brim with emotions, fluidity, and self-expression, which all comes together to make a unique, rich, beautiful language that is Vietnamese. Used by 80 million people every day. So, Vietnamese at its core, it's a tonal language. There are 6 critical marks that the main part of it is to provide the language with a with more of a lively sensation, since the meaning of the word is based heavily on the tone. Take example for the word ma. Only 2 Latin characters, right? M-A, ma. It means ghost if it's standalone. If we add like a cute side, it's ma, it's mother. A reverse side is ma. However, half question mark side will be ma, tum. Add a tilde there, it will be ma, which means coat. And if you add like a little dot down there, it means gilt, as in gold gilding. So with that in mind, it is clear that tonal shift, when making meaningful and fully formed Vietnamese sentences are meaningful and fully formed Vietnamese sentences somewhat create something similar to a melody. I'm sorry for my stutter. I'll continue. However, the tonal characteristic is what makes it challenging for music production. Unlike with English composition, when the shift or the change of the tone doesn't have too drastic of an effect to the to the sound as a result. The next part, or if not all of it, Vietnamese composition, the sound will suffer from the difference of the tone, because the heart of the sound itself is the tonal rule of Vietnamese. This is not completely bad, however, because if the challenge is overcame, then Vietnamese music product will comes out much more of a whole and rewarding. Secondly, I would like to say that Vietnamese is a monosyllabic language, which means that each word is expressed briefly but definitively. Generally speaking, every object or thing can be defined using just 2 Vietnamese words. And according to the research from the University of Lyon about linguistics and their efficiency, Vietnamese was the most information dense of all the 17 surveyed languages, having the ability to convey the most information within a time vocal interaction. Now, with all the tonal and definitive characteristics that I've just mentioned, I would like to draw a quick proposal. That is, Vietnamese is a harmonic combination between Latin characters and Chinese intonation.
Okay, so it is this harmony that helps to make Vietnamese a very multi-layered, multi-meaning language. For example, in literature, authors will often use words in different meanings, in different situations, in different connotations to address different things. For example, we have the word matte, normally used to describe the color silver, but instead authors can bend its meaning to mean something more like worn down, like how your hair looks and how its color changes after time, after experiencing the passage of time. Or it could be to talk about someone who is ungrateful with word matte. The word itself is very multifaceted, and there are many ways you can use the word.
All right, thank you, team. Night Owls for that presentation. Even another round on your encourage that. Although we are out of time, I believe that was quite an insightful sharing to the language, which is Vietnamese. So, are there any questions from the audience? Okay, now is the 3-minute Q&A session. So we open the floor to our audience members first. If you have any questions, please raise up your hand. If this sets up, definitely will pass your mic.
Yes. As a Vietnamese at Vietnamese buildings, yes. If you would just share our Vietnamese lessons, do you feel about this language? If it communicates, can you statements around 1 to 10 and give me the reason why you raise?
So yeah, I can also answer. So thank you for your question. First of all, I've read some research of this. I would rate it like a 9 to 10 in terms of intricacy, because one of my research found that Vietnamese is the 4th hardest language to learn for beginners. But still, that doesn't change the fact that however intricate this language is, it is fun to study, as there are a diverse amount of diacritical marks that you could go, hence the diversity in tones. Yeah.
Not only that, as I have said, the English language and the Vietnamese language have something in common. It's that both languages have a variety of meanings, even if for the same word. And another thing about Vietnamese language is we use the words like anh and ti. That's the relative pronouns. Normally you use that in a familial context, but with Vietnamese people, they use it just as a way to refer to each other. It's a way to express our familiarity with one another, even like though we don't have blood relations. It's a language that is based heavily on respect that one person has for another, as well as the history that our ancestors have, where we have to rely on each other even in hard times.
Yeah, it means you told to be more responsible for a Vietnamese language. It needs to told to emotions and autonomous. You need told to that. Okay, and respect your revenue. Thank you for your interest.
Thank you for the question and well answered. Let's have the judges. If you have any questions, if the judges have any questions, then did you?
Okay, thank you. Travel repeating that they haven't caught the presentation. All right, so the question is, you know English, right? And Vietnamese is your mother tongue. So I wanted to tell me some aspects of Vietnamese that make it easier than English.
So in my opinion, with as I just mentioned above, Vietnamese is the most information dense kind of language of all the surveyed one, right? That also includes English. So with that in mind, if I am bilingual, which my Vietnamese is my mother tongue, and I also learn English as well, I prefer choosing Vietnamese as my preferred spoken language, and I would just be brief or be definitive, or just be quick to express my ideas.
Additionally, one more aspect that I think a lot of us find with Vietnamese, or at least with our spoken language, is the expression of emotions. English is an emotive language, as I just said. With words like happy and sad, you can clearly tell that there's a difference in tone right there. Similarly with Vietnamese, it's more clear-cut. Like we have hạnh phúc, both are going up, and both exude a feeling of positivity, or at least it's an explosive feeling. Buồn bã, it continuously goes down, or it's mellowed out.
Thank you for the answer. I did that for thank you know that around for it is just called keeping going on. Is it that will be it?
Attention passengers, this is your captain speaking. We are from OBS Airplane. And now, we are taking our department to Ho Chi Minh City. Please stand our seats while I try to introduce you to the culture of Vietnam. I will also try to steer my plane in demonstrated. Let's begin. So, the home to 19 million people. 54 ethnic groups, 63 cities, and 64 if you come from the past. That is quite diverse, I believe. And I also believe that I am quite legit in this field because my dad is from, the north. My mom is from the central, and I was born in the south. So, the entire Vietnam. So, let's start with the first one about language. As I mentioned before, we have 3 regions: Northern, Central, and Southern. It is quite hard to memorize, to know what it sounds like, so I will demonstrate it. The next sentence I will say, translate into English, is hello everyone, welcome to Vietnam. Now let us start. In the Northern accent, we say it like this. Xin chào mọi người, chào mừng tới Việt Nam. In the Central accent, we do like this. Xin chào mọi người, chào mừng tới Việt Nam. Southern, xin chào mọi người, chào mừng tới Việt Nam. That is how diverse our language is. 3 accents, 3 regions. And now, up to the culture. There's a lot of things to say. We have food, clothing, festival, holiday, all that kind of stuff. But I believe that the first thing we come to mind is food. So here we go. Food. The Northerners, they are quite taking interest in sauce. So we have fish sauce and shrimp sauce. 2, 1 red and 1 purple. The Northerners also take interest in some sort of memorable and traditional food that provoke the memory from the past, the young self. What the mom cooked them. Exactly. Continue, we have the Centrals. So come from a region that have quite a bond with water and wheat. We have some sort of combination between rice and water. And guess what? What will we have? Let's see. So, noodle, we have Hue beef noodle soup. Many of us will notice, some foreigners might notice as well, this kind of really famous in Hue. And the second thing is shrimp flour cake. It is basically like still rice and water combination together, but one is dry and one is wet. Both are tasty. You should have to try. And about the Southerners. And look at this. What do we have? Sugar. So the Southerners take a great interest in sweet. They have sweet in every dish possible. So how much sweet do they want? Oh, quite a lot, I suppose. And so we have this goat up. Really famous, really modern. So the meat, they have sugar. The egg, they have sugar. Veggies, sugar again. The sauce in the right corner, top, sugar rice. It is the northern, the southern is also the home to many modern dishes. It's kind of have a traditional taste about it, but most of them are really modern. And also, red fried cake, street foods, really famous. So now, my dear co-pilots, please take it. On the second half of our flights, as the co-pilot, I shall introduce the profoundness of Vietnamese people that are quite cool. First off, if we go to Vietnam, we need to know about the people, and that is quite true. First, we have two very main and profound personalities. First, we are brave. We are brave, we are tough. And I'm quite sure you haven't seen this in all the history classes, I'm quite sure. But for those who don't know, these are among the famous fights that we used to fight against our invaders in the past. And as we see from that picture over there, we see our two very famous ladies, Hai Ma Gum, or the Jung sisters. It shows, and in our language, we have a very famous saying, "Dắt tới nhà, đàn bà cũng đánh." As in, when the enemy attack, even women fight. That's when it does. And it shows that we're brave. It shows that we were born from, according to our myth, we were born from the same race. As in, every single one of us is technically family. As in, so, which means we would defend them till our death. We would defend them without any cost. Basically. The next one is that we are very hospitable than any hospital you can come to. I'm quite sure of it. As we can see, this is, you know him, right? Barack Obama. He was the president of the United States. And as we know, Vietnam, we were in a very, very big war with the US. Which technically means they are our enemies, right? But while we were it shows that this generation, we are open. We are open for relationship. We are open for globalization. So, which means now, we are open, so we are very hospitable. Like this, yeah, like that. Next, we tend to like foreigners a lot. And that we always welcome them. We really love it when they try to speak our language, even though they may do it a bit. But yeah, we are very welcoming to that. And next, something like this, we also invite them to our feasts. As we know, during our parties during that, we sometimes have feasts. And certain foreign people, they are pleasantly surprised because we do that. And at the end, we are hospitable. And as your co-pilot, your flight to Vietnam has concluded. Thank you so much for coming with us.
But hey, what do you get?
Thank you very much. First of all, I appreciate your presentation. I think it was a great presentation from both of you. The chemistry was great. Okay, the first question that I would like to ask is, how does Vietnamese food ties in with China? Yes, how is it different and how is it similar to that?
Okay, thank you for your great question. I want to answer. So the similarity between Vietnamese dishes and the Chinese dishes are that they are using a lot of wheat and water. They use balls like a lot. And also the use of many different kind of sauces is derived from the Chinese too. We are basically inherited from them. And about the differences, each regions of Vietnam do have their own kinds of plants, their own kinds of meat and ingredients. So based on what they inherited from the Chinese, our Vietnamese people do kind of like mixing it up, experimenting with it, and then boom, regional dishes. That is where the difference lies. You have to taste it to know it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the kitchen is a bit later or see guys. It cannot be open the shores.
We have a lot of time for this.
Good afternoon and congratulations for accomplishing your task on this finale. I would like to give a feedback first because together with the other judges, we were actually asking each other what your title is somehow misleading to the content of your work. It's very clear on our paper, it's the people of Vietnam, diverse and profound. So on the introduction, we had 54 ethnicities, and I personally was expecting to hear about the different kinds of ethnicities. And as far as I know, some of them are not existing anymore, you know? So
That's valid.
and the question from the audience was linked to a poll, which actually talked, maybe they digested the information more on the cuisine, not on the people. You understand? All right. I would like to ask a question related to people, all right? So today's time, what effects of interracial or intercultural families have on the future of Vietnamese?
You mentioned interracial.
Interracial, yes, their marriages, you know, foreign people and Vietnamese people. So, what do you think about the ethnicities and the effect on these trends?
I think it will not affect us that badly because I'm quite sure that it will bring us even more open to other cultures, not aside from us. As inter families, we have a chance to both, for example, explore our culture and ethnicity to, let's say, from one side and then another from the other side, which means we have a chance to receive both of the good sides, and then we know which one is the one for us best. Because honestly, nothing is ever good, so that we need to be open-minded, and I think having interracial like parentage and cultural, I think that is one of the best way to do that and the best way to describe that.
If you mean then, like my practice and here.
You got everything again, just keep us up.
In 1950s, I was a farmer living a happy life with my family. It wasn't long that one day, the US came and had a demand to colonize my country. They bombed, mocked, raped, and murdered. They sowed hatred in our mind. And we, as Vietnamese citizens, took a responsibility to protect our country from the invaders. Follow Ho Chi Minh's president calling, I said goodbye to my family and joined the army. You think that was glamorous that we could bravely fight for our nation? Yes, but it was not the entire story. We went on Latin hike mic in the forest every day, practiced heavy physical training, built underground routes to survive with the enemy's bombing, and be careful of every single word and every single gesture. But due to our unity, determination, and patriotism, we came through all of the rigors of the war. It was an uneven fight where the enemy were equipped with cutting-edge weapons and they had advantage in strength. We were in supply shortage and smaller. So we worked on to utilize what we had to fight against them. What does the power had? Shovels, rakes, hoes, fan, and they were playing an important role in helping us with the war. We applied guerrilla warfare, a type of warfare where one group of fighters, in this case now, they use a surprise attack, booby traps, hit and run tactics to fight against a larger, more powerful enemy. France and the US, yeah, we were small, poor, and we had fewer soldiers, weapons, but you know, necessity is the mother of invention. If the West spent years to invent a bomb called steam bomb to create a pleasant smell, in Vietnam we have a very natural steam bomb. They from human poops. We buried a piece of metal. Then we put poops above. The enemies used the device to detect bomb, hoping to find bomb. Like, the bomb is over there. Then they kill him. They use him to dig slowly. And then suddenly they came across poops. No bomb on it, fine. And then when you have poops in your hand, what you want to do? Smell it? Besides, you want to wash it, right? So they reached the nearby lake and the landmine lake or the lake bank exploded.
What else? I finished patrolling the area, and outsiders are ready.
Well done. Well, the coach is in time. Please tell them how we came up with our fascinating guerrilla tactics to win the war, okay?
Yes, sir.
Good luck.
Well, obviously it was not
only based on our courage to come up with these tactics. Some would say that we were facing a deadlock, that we had to establish some ways to survive. Yes, we were, but this is just the tip of the iceberg, we say. I believe that there were more. It was based on our hundreds of years of experience and our deep down patriotism. Firstly, guerrilla warfare was a precious experience that was passed down from our ancestors. Not only Uncle Ho soldiers, but also for a further past, Vietnamese soldiers had known how to use the advantage of the rugged terrains to defeat the invaders. We had always acknowledged that, to compare with our enemies, we were smaller in size and quantity, so that we needed to establish some ways to amazing tactics. For example, we created empty gardens, empty houses, in which we left our villages empty to trick the enemies and then use surprise attack. Or we ambushed in the forest, since there were so many trees. Or we invented a underground stove, which didn't create any smoke. Without our hundreds of years of experience, we could never have these tactics. Secondly, Vietnamese great patriotism contributed to our tactics. Not only soldiers, but every Vietnamese acknowledged that we were fighting for our homeland. And we knew that we had our whole family behind our back. So if we stopped, our loved ones would be harmed. The harder the situations, the smarter the tactics became, and eventually it helped them to win the war. 1,000 years invaded by the Chinese, 100 years invaded by the Westerns. It was based on a patriotic fire that Uncle Ho soldiers felt real joy and happiness when they joined the fight. And that they would bring their whole knowledge to contribute to it and then play with the enemies.
Well. It seems to me that you know our country very well, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, actually, in my opinion, I think that Vietnamese youth in our generation and our descendants really have great love and understanding for our country. You know that?
Yeah,
and I believe that they desire to contribute to our country.
That's right. And also, knowing about history makes a person love other country even more, right?
Yeah, so you know what we often say?
Yes.
No history to resolve stories.
How? That is over the form or reading it for hanging, which should answer to all of us again and to the end of the stage. Hello. Hi. First of all, that was a very good presentation from me. I enjoyed it. My question is, I'm from Malaysia and I don't really know Vietnamese history much. Who is Uncle Flu?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So thank you for your question. I really like it. Like, sorry for assuming that everybody here is knowing who Uncle Ho is. So now we're gonna explain it. So Uncle Ho is a way we call our beloved Ho Chi Minh president. So, every country has a person, a politician that can have the country come over a hard time, a difficult time. Like when we have when the other country invade our country, like the US or the France, we need a politician to go out, to come to other country, to learn, to get the blessing, the great things to bring to our country, to change the way and to help the country to fight against the invaders. The Uncle Ho did that. So we had our country escape from the invasion of other country. And now we are free. Yeah, that's Uncle Ho.
Yeah. Well, actually, we call him Uncle Ho because he was so great and his work was so great that he became our general uncle for all Vietnamese people. We call him Uncle Ho.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know that he's a president. And then when he meet a kid, he can call to the kids and, hello kids, how are you today? He's so nice and so friendly.
Yeah.
He's close to every people. That's the way we connect a circle.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your question.
Now we would like to invite the judges.
Hello,
Hello.
I've seen Uncle Ro in Hanoi.
Oh my God. That was volume, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for your presentation. I can see like the Vietnamese are very patriotic. And how has this spirit of tenacity from your guerrilla days and so on, we no longer in war right now. So how has this spirit of tenacity translated into your everyday life?
Yeah, thank you for your question. Your question is about like how the spirit of the uncle soldier has spread to our generation, right? Yes, so, you know, we are taught history probably in the age of about 10 or 9, and we learn history through our school. So we know that the teachers or the president teacher that you need to love your country. You need to learn history. So because you know, if you know history, you can see the how the soldier working hard to protect our country so that we can have the freedom nowadays and we can stay here to speak to you that we are so patriotic and we're so brave that we can protect our country from any invaders, even though it's the biggest country in the world. Yes, you see the spirit, right?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And so I hear you order to there while the schools giant another team here.
It seems like Vietnam is not only famous for their delicious cuisine, but also because of a large pool of talented programmers. It seems like they are serving impressive solutions for the software department. Now, with the cost so low, it kind of feels like stealing, and I kind of feel bad for them. No wonder why companies around the globe flock in and try to take a piece of them, like faster than you can say, ready, set, code.
Well, in addition to just software development, actually, we can see a lot of progress in all the field as well. We have e-commerce, we have fintech, we have artificial intelligence. Well, of course, if you ever come across a Vietnamese and ask him, he would probably say, you want to buy something? Go Shopee. Want to pay? Whoa. Hey. Oh, come on, man. Now, of course, the government oversees the activities of these industries, of course, with many supportive policies. One of which we can name is when the State Bank of Vietnam provides some regulations regarding the development of mobile apps as well as digital financial services.
I can see that Vietnam is starting to become the hotspot for technology startups. We have all these incubators, all these accelerators, and venture capital firms keep popping up. It's no wonder why they keep pumping out these successful startups. I'll mention you 3 legendary letters. FPT. Yes, the software, they outsource the software development faster than you can say by me.
Well, of course, the government tends to have many supportive policies. One of the is that I want to bring up the National Technology Innovation Program, about the BEST Act. Well, furthermore, I understand we care to continue.
Seems like Vietnam is starting to become the hub for software development. It's so bizarre that people should change the country name to Silicon Valley. Yeah, Silicon Valley, because we emphasize on the STEM education, STEM. This is why we keep these pieces because of education. Nice.
Well, of course, like a coin, every coin has 2 sides. If you try to flip it, you can see the obstacles that we have to address. For instance, the lack of intellectual protection, some shortage in like proper management, as well as the shortage of entrepreneurs. We've seen cases in the past of people got their creation ripped off, straight out stolen from them. This is actually due to the proper law implementation within a regulatory framework. But however, we also have some bright side. We have supportive community. We have support from the government. We have a skillful, a diverse pool of technological as well as professor experts. This is why Vietnam can keep their place in the major play. One aspect that keep making waves in the Vietnam technology is the fintech sector. It's like one day people suddenly realize, oh, there's a lot of unbanked people in our country. Let's make some digital money magic happen. And boy, they did. We got Viettel, we got VietPay, and we got Momo. And Momo, hey. In Vietnam, we have a saying, with Momo, no problemo. Huh? Momo excels in the whole mobile money, transferring and receiving money in the blink of an eye. Digital services. VietPay excels in the e-wallet department, the gateway services, the gateway payment services. You see, if you're looking for a place to start a tech company, don't look further to the horizon. Look here. Look with the word Vietnam. For man, you will be swimming in cow. Green cash cow right there. Well, we don't really want to see you solely as just judges and audience. We want to see you as experts, as future investors. We want to share with you our vision, our future, the future of technology within not just Vietnam, but the Southeast Asia region as well. Today I stand here. I see you, not audiences. I see you as true visionaries. You see, the future only belongs for those who prepare for them today. There's a new tech girl in the global tech town, and she's not kidding around. Her name is Vietnam, and she, with a backup from the government she got, she will be an unstoppable force of nature. People, everyone will be one part of her BFF. Everyone wants to be a part of her circle.
Thank you, David. And we are in the same age you are called for investment for your startup project. And now we all open the floor for the audiences and also for the churches. And once it is time for you to give the question. And then I would like to invite the cosmetic immigrant to go to the stage, next to the stage and prepare for the fact check.
Check. Fellow investors, this is a very rare annual general meeting, so please ask your questions to our company founders. We have.
Thank you for your presentation. I find it very interesting that your slides all look very technological, this very modern field. I heard something, you mentioned something about Momo. What is that?
Momo is a mobile money app. It does not work like a bank. It covers, it doesn't have the kind of system like a bank. It's a mobile money app where you store the money in the app and it transfers through the system. You can transfer the money and receiving the money without bank procedures. It takes them a shorter time, a lot more convenient, and a lot of sales.
Well, that's imagine taking your wallet out. It's basically an e-wallet. When you can transfer, you can store money with no commissions like banks. And for instance, if you want to go through a bank app, you'll pay around 1.5 to 3%. Instead of that, use Momo. No commission, no borders, no losing money, only take.
Thank you for the question, which is Momo, and thank you for your explanation. And the judges is your time.
Okay, congratulations, right? It's the second time
this afternoon, I feel like goosebumps listening to your presentation, right? So I love to Vietnam, right? And that's very inspiring because it need work very hard when you come back, right? You have to work harder and you have to study harder. Okay, so my question is, so you show that Vietnam is an immersion country. So let me a good dream, right? A study in 10 years' time. Where do you think Vietnam will be? The position of Vietnam, right, in the global scale.
Well, of course, we don't want to be too overboard with our dream. We want to be more seeking the truth as well as profoundly our dream. But of course, we want to see Vietnam as well as Malaysia or the Southeast Asia region on the map of the economic world, instead of just being referred from like the powerhouse of economy as some small places on the map of the earth. Okay, for some information, Vietnam is excelling at a lot of aspects, like I mentioned in the presentation, in the fintech, in software development. In 10 years, a very near future that we can totally see. I imagine a world where we no longer worries about insects. We no longer worries about sharks grabbing the financing situation. I can see finance spread across digital wallets and no longer be controlled by the bigger tops. We have the resource, we have the power, we have the will, so why not make it happen, yeah?
Okay, and see. In your big more and also the two measures, so the next phrase, if you want to know where these mobile and experiences just come to Vietnam and everywhere.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, they are ready. How Vietnamese people's qualities are reflected through culinary features. Team Cosmic Immigrant.
But I would get a sense to the everything see you all good now.
The freight BLE 6582 departing from Frankfurt has just landed at Hanoi Bay International Airport. Welcome to Vietnam.
It will something. Say, come on. It is it done.
False. Thanks, months later. Hi, I'm Ein, and today I will be meeting with someone from Germany. Oh, that it is. I see, come here. Hello, Ein. What's up? How are you? I'm good. Have a seat. Let us have a beer. I'm really interested in your journey to Vietnam in the last 6 months. Well, of course, let me tell you. After half a year of living in Vietnam, I have truly fallen in love with the street food culture here. People from all walks of life love eating on the street instead of going to a luxury restaurant. Additionally, I have also tried this amazing bánh chưng. This traditional cake of Vietnam, made from very simple but familiar ingredients such as pork, sticky rice, shallots, and mung beans. Do you think that this kind of food and the way people eat on the street represent the simpleness and the idyllic lifestyle of Vietnamese people? Yeah, and I think it's really easy to explain. Vietnam is a country that has cultivated rice for thousands of years. That explains why our site is associated with simplicity. Oh, that's interesting. Can you please elaborate? I think only simplicity is not enough, because I have traveled a lot during these 6 months, and I have tried a lot of bizarre but delicious food. They use a lot in Vietnam. They use a lot of ingredients that normally Europeans never use, such as chicken feet, pig brains, and organs, and strangely enough, even goat goat. Yeah, Vietnam is unique. Vietnamese cuisine is unique because of its use of unusual ingredients. But I can understand why you find it abnormal. However, I think it is just us who's being resourceful. Can you tell me more about this resourcefulness of Vietnamese people? Well, of course, these special dishes you speak of comes a way back. In a time when our country was poor because of prolonged wars and famines. Our agriculture was in crisis, and there was just not enough food to go around. So Vietnamese people have to make use of all of their food resources and try creative ways to make use of them without waste. This includes the unappetizing part of an animal, like organ, guts, and feet. Well, despite of that, they managed to make the food look really interesting and delicious. Their resourceful qualities in difficult times is really inspiring to me. I am really amazed by the ingenuity of the farmer in Vietnam. After they harvesting the bread from the rice plant, they still dry all the straw on the side of the street or even in their front yard. When I ask them, what are they going to do with them? They tell me that because of the leftover straw is too much, they try to make use of them by making beds, making a broom, or a roof. Yeah, they also use rice hull and straw for many other surprising purposes, like building materials, fertilizer, and even food for the buffalo. So do you have any others never experience? Let me think. Oh, I got a chance to experience that in a very traditional village of Tuyên. But they have this local custom of butchering a pig and dividing the meat into 4 equal parts for 4 families. We prepare the meal together. We eat together in one big tray instead of having different portions. And then, after all that, we clean up together. The sense of community is especially strong in the countryside of Vietnam. I know that one. I believe it's called Đúc Lợn, and it's a very common tradition in rural area. Traditions like this are a cornerstone of why we stay close-knit through generations and generations. We believe that when we share food, we also share happiness and blessing with each other. It's not just about the food, it's about the community spirits we have here in Vietnam. That's very interesting. All of this built a long history of solidarity and helping people in need. For example, every year, Central Vietnam is suffer from a flood, and Vietnamese nationwide contribute many relief funds, big and small, to help flood victims. One of the memorable experience I saw is watching long line of vehicles all delivering food and clothes and money to people in need. That is really meaningful. If I'm not, if I can remember correctly, last February there was an earthquake in Turkey, and a lot of Vietnamese people have donated money to help with the rescue effort. Even the Vietnamese government sent rescue worker, medical worker, and soldiers to help with the rescue. It's just to show that Vietnamese people not only care about their own people, but also about other people around the world. So there are just 2 of many qualities that derive from our colonial features: resourcefulness and community spirits. I hope you stay here to experience them also. Thank you. I also hope so.
Thank you to our hosting, David Gross. We have any questions more to our hosting immigrants, right? We got one from Timothy, one from Vietnam. So please feel free to ask them any questions.
Okay, hi guys. Can you cook?
Of course, I love to cook.
Okay, right, that's good. So let's say you have a group of worldwide students come to Vietnam, and you're gonna cook a dinner for them. So what kind of, alright, so what kind of dishes were to serve them once? What are the qualities reflected through that dishes?
Of course, first of all, for vegetable dish, I would use raw zongbo. It's a very common vegetable found in a lot of Vietnamese countryside. It's easy to because it's grown in mud, so it represents the simplicity of Vietnamese people. Second of all, I would use chicken because they are not allowed to eat pork. And for chicken, I would do something very simple with glass noodle and with the boiled chicken because it can represent the multiple use of chicken. While the main part I can use for the soup, the main part or the pie I can use for other dishes. For example, chicken with I can take out the meat and I can cook a dish such as using chili and also lemongrass. I think that's okay enough with a vegetable meat dish.
Spicy now, right? You remember at the Malay they are wanting spicy food. Yes. Okay, right. So you want to show your simplicity, one of the quality of Vietnamese people, right? How about the community spirit?
Well, then overall, we're going to share the meal together. That is not just the community spirit, but also the hospitality of Vietnamese people.
Okay, so you want to bring them to sit around table or on the chill, right? On the floor. Which one do you prefer?
I would prefer on the floor because that is how I have a meal with also my grandparents and my parents too. I just think that it would feel more like also the simplicity of it. We sit on the ground, but we eat on the same big tray together. It's still more like a family.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great question followed by a great answer. We had I guess a bit on an audience effort to ask the question. So thank you to the team Cosmic Immigrant.
Yeah, once again, a big applause for Dynamic Duo. One is start now.
Greetings. We are the dynamic duo, and I meet the other one. Okay, so when we were given the suggested topics for the finals, we thought, wow, these topics are all great, and it's so close to us. But we wonder if there's any different approach, and if we could connect all three of them. So after hours of reading, researching, we have finally found a way to do that. And the keyword of this connection is entropy.
So it's going to be our main topics for today's speech. In today's presentation, I will show you what is entropy is. I'll show you why we believe it is linked to everything, even our individual and also our country. But more importantly, I will show you guys the way that Vietnamese cope with those outer chaos by tapping in and making greater use with our enemies. So now you guys are maybe asking, what is entropy anyways? So to be short, entropy shows how the universe works. And it also represents chaos itself. Now, we're going to put it to different scales so you guys can possibly easier to understand. Okay, starting with the universe. Entropy is constantly increasing because those particles and celestials are accelerating through time and space. And of those matters, and this entropy that causing the universe to collapse.
Overall, slow down. How about we up it? I mean, we turn it down a notch and move to the Earth. This is where we show up. The Vietnamese, our country. You look at all this. See, the cities, the technologies, the medical, all the other groups that's mentioned about. It's great and all, but we see that it's only the surface, and we want to mention about what is beneath all of that shining glories of evolution. Beneath all those is actually chaos. See, Well, you see, pandemics, COVID-19, medical cannot keep up with it. The
Well,
so what is the cause of all this chaos? Well, this answer actually is generates a diversity of responses. But to be simplified, every answer traces back to one thing only, and that is human, us.
So now you guys are probably wondering why all of these complex problems are led by humans after all. Well, in deeper researches, attributes also includes information itself. That explains the more desire we have, the more attention we get, the more desires we have, and the more thoughts we generate ourselves. Take a look at this image. You see, these are Vietnamese before when we are just making basic car parts for other cars company. And now we have original Vietnamese-made car that has been fast. And this is getting exported all over the world. Big difference, right? We are evolving at a rapid rate. We are chasing what we believe is peace, or that thing called negative entropy, by keep advancing technologies, following all of these developing trends, just to face and try to solve all these problems in the world. But in the reality, we're just causing more chaos.
And with all that in mind, you're probably wondering how to even solve all of this. Are there any practical way? No. The answer is no. But as many hands make light work, we strongly believe that if each and every individual of us can control our own thoughts, our inner desires and needs, then collectively, we'll be able to make a difference. All right, let's take an example. Buddhism. This, is originated from India, but it has been transported to Vietnam, has been playing a crucial role in our cultural values, and it has heavily influenced us, proving by the fact that 80% of Vietnamese are Buddhism, including us. So, speak from our experience. Do you have any tips you can show the honesty?
Oh, well, now I'm gonna speak from my own experience. And this is what I did and what I suggest you to do if you are interested or you have ever tried it before. Well, first of all, chose a really comfy position. You like to sit, or to stand, or even lying down on your backs. And then slowly close your eyes. Then after that, start taking deep breaths in. Slowly but surely, you will control your breath and feel your breath. And then breathe out. Then you can focus on the present yourself. You see, these are the most basic way and really effective in the other way in controlling our own thoughts and our inner chaos. Oh, Marvin Gaye used to say, if you cannot find peace within yourself, you cannot find it anywhere else. And now, to be concluded, we cannot just stop entropy from escalating ourselves, but we believe if everyone can find our own inner peace, just by breathing, and then from slowly but surely, we believe our world will develop in a better place. Yeah, thank you.
Now we open.
Thank you for your presentation just now. So you talked about how does inner peace help with the advancement, right? My question would be, how do you achieve this inner peace? Because personally, I'm looking for some myself.
That is a pretty hard question because the thing is, we keep, like, you find those satisfaction when you sleeping or through your hobbies, like sleep.